Thank you so much, Charles. What a fascinating story. And given Saint-Georges' giftedness, I'm just wondering, why have we not heard more about this individual?
Well, I must tell you that after he died in 1799, he died actually when the French Revolution ended. The year that it ended, he died. Much of his music was burned, lost. However, the Talful Music Orchestra of Canada, under a female conductor by the name of Jean Lamont, revived his symphony and some of his overtures and concertos. And that orchestra was part of the production of the DVD known as Le Mozart Noir. And it was broadcast all over Europe and Canada, and an active interest developed in his music. Again, this is after 200 years of it being in total obscurity. So because of Talful music and other composers who found music, Gabriel Benet was a biographer, or is a biographer, of Saint-Georges. Gabriel was a former violinist with the New York Philharmonic. And as a violinist, he was always looking for new music. And he went to the New York Public Library and found some of the violin piano sonatas and started studying them. This sparked an interest, and he wrote his book, Le Chevalier de Saint-Georges. So more people became interested in the book and the music. Now, let me tell you something else. People are finding out from all over the world that I am now involved with Saint-Georges. So I am getting emails from all over the globe about people who are interested, who have done studies on Saint-Georges. And I'm finding out a lot of information that way as well. So, the thing is, when you become interested in a, esoteric subject, there are other people out there who become interested as well, and they're willing to share this information. So I am now a part, and I'm honored to be part of a new network of people who are involved with the music of Saint-Georges and who are spreading the music of Saint-Georges. Wait, one other thing I do want to say. Natalie Hinderis was my piano professor when I was working on a master's at Temple. And she is the one who actually recorded, the first recording of this piece. I was back in the 70s, that she actually recorded this. This is his only recorded piece, or only published piece in this country at this point. This is it. Everything else is like this, in manuscript form, that you can barely read. But I am sure that within the next 2 to 3 years, there's going to be a resurgence of interest in this man. Not because of all the peripheral things that he did, but because of the fact that he was an interesting composer. His music was very melodic, it was very simplistic, but it was very heartfelt at the same time.
Yes, my name is Diana Burton, and I am from Roxborough, Pennsylvania. Mr. Pettaway, I enjoyed your playing, and my question to you is, how many pieces did Saint-Georges compose, and did he play the violin in any of them?
Well, yeah, he did. As a matter of fact, at the Concert des Amateurs, he did write 2 violin concertos, and he played both the concertos. That's how his renown spread as a violin virtuoso and as a composer as well. You asked, how many pieces did he write? Well, he wrote operas, he wrote violin, piano sonatas, and he wrote harpsichord sonatas. He wrote 11 harpsichord sonatas. In addition to that, he wrote symphony concertantes, and we're going to talk about that a little later on. But the symphony concertante was a work written for 2 or more virtuoso players with orchestral accompaniment. Saint-Georges was one of the first to write in that genre. Another genre that he wrote in was the string quartet. Now, Franz Joseph Haydn is given credit with writing string quartets, but Saint-Georges was also one who wrote a few string quartets. He wrote 11 keyboard sonatas, and I have to tell you, I have been trying to get those keyboard sonatas for the past year and a half, literally. And I just got, well, I even wrote to the Bibliothèque Nationale de Paris, and they sent me 3 sonatas for violin and piano. I asked them for the harpsichord sonatas, and they sent me 3 piano or, violin pieces. So I've got to go back. But through this project, I've met a harpsichordist in Paris, Anne Roberts, and we became good friends, and 3 weeks ago, she sent me this sonata that I'm going to play tonight. It's a wonderful, wonderful piece, and it's because of her that I now have his Sonata No. 1 in C major. But there are 10 others that he wrote that I'm going to try to get as well. Well, I will get them.
Mr. Pettaway, hello. I'm from Winfield, part of the city of Philadelphia. I'm a school teacher, and I'm just so pleased to be here. My question is, you mentioned that even though this accomplished, fantastic man was in France and slavery had been abolished, he was still mulatto. And I just got the feeling when you mentioned the 3 divas, he refused to sing as long as he would be the one in charge. I heard that as a red flag. How long of his life did his father's income allow him to sustain maybe these type of rejections? Because most of these artists, eventually they wind up dying penniless. And I'm hoping that's not the case. I have a feeling that may be.
Well, his father left him a pension. His father did ultimately die, but again, he was a very wealthy landowner and plantation owner. So his father did leave him a pension, okay, that lasted until the French Revolution, to tell you the truth. Then, of course, he lost everything. Now, he made money also as a soloist, as a violinist, conductor, and composer. But again, when the French Revolution came, he lost everything. You mentioned about the 3 divas. Let me tell you the rest of the story there. The 3 divas were upset because they didn't want to take orders from a mulatto, but they had other great problems, and this is the problem. They were fading divas. They had lost their ability to, negotiate the difficult runs that were required of great singers. And they knew how demanding Saint-Georges was as a conductor of the other orchestras. So they knew, oh my gosh, if he becomes the director, we're going to be out in the street. We're not going to have a job. See, that's another reason why they wrote The King. I think if they thought, oh, this is going to be a piece of cake, they wouldn't have complained. But that's what they said. We could never take orders from a mulatto. The other thing that I just found out the other day, who did become the director? One of the singer's lovers became the interim director of the Royal Opera. Politics as usual.
Hi, my name is Adjoa Love Dorsey. I'm from South Philly, but I live in Overbrook Farms, South Philly, always at heart. Mr. Pettaway, I guess one question that's pondering me is, why is he called the Black Mozart? Now, what I like about this man and what I've enjoyed most is that he definitely lived outside the box. He's all over the place. He's exotic. He didn't conform to the norm. He continued to pursue. I just like his character. I guess because I'm also an out-of-the-box person. So, but why is he, quote unquote, considered or called the Black Mozart?
Good question. Actually, I answered that in the second segment, but let me just say this. That was never an official title. That was never an official title. What happened, there were a group of people who were walking along and heard some of his music, like The Anonymous Lover, like his symphony in G major, and said, gosh, this music sounds a lot like Mozart. So let's call him the Black Mozart. That's all we really know. It was never a pseudonym that was official. But because he wrote in such a way, a group of people decided, let's call him the Black Mozart. And that title stuck. That's it.
Good evening. My name's Dr. Cynthia Cosette Lee. I'm a Center City composer, but I'm a native Pittsburgher. And I have first of all, thank you, Mr. Pettaway, for this fantastic lecture that you're doing on Chevalier de Saint-Georges. My question to you is, was he the music teacher for Marie Antoinette? And also, did he meet Mozart?
Well, let me deal with Marie Antoinette. He was, for a time, the music teacher of Marie Antoinette, for a time. But the court became quite worried about the music teacher and the queen. Why? Because, again, Saint-Georges was handsome. He was good looking. He was, well, tall, dark, and handsome. And as a result, the queen was married to Louis XVI. You saw his picture. So having this music teacher, it was quite a great thing. You know, I'm finding out more and more about him as I read. He was quite a lover. And I don't mind saying that. He was quite a lover. He was in some circles known as the Black Don Juan. Okay? He really was quite a ladies' man. And there seems to be some suggestion that the two were having an affair. There seems to be. I don't know for sure. Okay? There seems to be some insinuation that the two were having an affair. Well, the court found out about it and had to put a stop to it. As a matter of fact, this is one of the many times that he was almost assassinated. People tried to assassinate him a few times because of his stepping out of the box as far as relationships were concerned. He was ambushed a few times, but again, he was a great athlete and he could always subdue them. But he was ambushed quite a few times. So I don't know for sure if there was an affair there, but clearly he did teach her for a while. Not a long while either.
Well, Charles, thank you so much. This is the stuff movies are made of. What a fascinating story, and we have more to talk about, but we're going to take a quick break so that we can catch you up on what the Humanities Council has been doing lately. Not too long ago, PCN's Brian Lockman sat down with PHC's Ann Benzel, and here's what they talked about.
Ann Benzel, you are currently the chair of the Pennsylvania Humanities Council. What is the Pennsylvania Humanities Council?
The Pennsylvania Humanities Council is a not-for-profit organization whose mission is to promote the humanities and cultural events throughout the state.
What does that word mean, the humanities?
Humanities has many different meanings to different people, but to me, my definition would be the humanities are those elements or entities that touch us in special ways in our everyday lives. For me, it's the arts, it's literature, it's history. The humanities are learning experiences that teach us a lot about who we are, where we came from, and hopefully where we're going.
How does the Pennsylvania Humanities Council promote the humanities?
Through programming, we have some absolutely wonderful programs that are far-reaching across the entire state. I'd love to tell you just a little bit about them. One of my personal favorites are the Commonwealth speakers who really visit every